Have you ever had the situation where you're sitting, relaxing, reading, watching TV, or just doing something else, and this thought comes into your head that maybe you should be doing something more productive? Well, if that's you, bear with me, because ultimately this kind of thinking can lead to burnout. It's total self-sabotage, but I'm going to show you how you can begin to reframe this so you can take time off, you can sit, chill out and relax without feeling guilty in any way, shape or form. Now this has come about because just over a week ago I was sitting on a Saturday afternoon, I take Saturdays off, just relaxing, sitting reading a book, and this thought came into my head. Oh my God, I should be doing something more productive with my time. And I really did get into a bit of a state about it because I began to literally feel guilty about not being productive. And the thing is, this kind of approach, this way of thinking can lead to burnout, and because you're constantly feeling the need to work all of the time and you don't give yourself the space to actually unwind, actually relax, which your body, your mind and your subconscious really needs. And then if you do get burned out, your body and your brain will force you to switch off and force you to relax anyway, but sadly, you won't enjoy it. You see, constantly working is the way to burnout, as I've said, and refusing to sit and rest is ultimately self-sabotaging and self-destructive. And this has come about because many people's self-worth is related to their ability to get stuff done, our productivity level, how much we actually produce. And this is a negative way of thinking because our body and brain needs rest. But in today's hustle culture, it's almost like you're being encouraged to think that if you ain't producing, you can't possibly be worth anything. And men particularly have their self-worth tied up in how much they get done and how much progress we believe we're making. So what tends to happen? We sit and relax, we feel guilty, we then get back into work, and every time we try and switch off, we feel guilty again, and it becomes a cycle to the point where our productivity drops. We start to feel like crap, and unfortunately then it can lead to burnout, and everything will just stop and grind to a halt, and you won't be productive at all if you get to that point. So, what can we do to begin to reframe this? Well, one of the most important things is to acknowledge and remind yourself that rest is a vital part of productivity. If you don't give your brain and your body downtime, your cortisol levels will be constantly high, and you cannot maintain this kind of stress for any length of time. Like I said, your brain will literally begin to shut down, at which point your productivity is going to plummet, whether you want it to or not. So begin to remind yourself that taking a rest is important. Not just important, it's absolutely vital to your ability to produce. I mean, the idea of taking a day of rest every week goes back a long way, and it's still a very good example to be followed. And here's the thing, according to studies, in the United States alone, burnout accounts for around $280 billion worth of lost productivity every year. That's right, 280 billion US dollars every year as a result of burnout. And to be honest, I would hate for you to be part of that statistic as well. And that's why I'm encouraging you to begin to reframe this. Now, the thing is, I've known this for quite some time, but that doesn't mean I'm any less guilty of doing this. Like I said, just over a week ago, at the time of recording this, I fell into this very same trap of thinking, oh my God, I'm not doing anything productive. And my brain kicked into guilt mode, trying to encourage me through habit to go and try and get something what I felt was more productive done. And it is a trap, and one that you can actually quite readily dig yourself out of. So let's start to reframe this. And the first thing to do is recognize what's going on. Spot this nagging in the back of your mind when you're trying to do something that's helping you to relax and your brain is telling you, you should be doing something else. Don't. Stop. Remind your brain, I'm in charge here. Now is a time of rest, and it's exactly what I'm going to do. Another thing to try to take into account is that just because you're relaxing, it doesn't mean you're lazy. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're missing out on anything either. You're doing what's necessary to give your brain and your body the opportunity to recover from the working week or from your working time. And one thing I absolutely, definitely encourage you to do is to make rest and downtime non-negotiable. I take Saturdays off, have done for many years now, and I nearly never do any kind of work on a Saturday. It's always my day of rest or day of doing something that's not work related, and I make this pretty much non-negotiable. I don't do client work or any kind of work on a Saturdays. This is being recorded on a Sunday. I don't even do my video work on Saturdays. To me, it's non-negotiable, and I urge you to do the same. Give yourself downtime, make it part of your routine, make it non-negotiable. And like I said before, challenge the guilt. Ask yourself, would I tell a friend of mine who was struggling with this that to just get some work done? No, you'd encourage them to take the time off. And another thing is to remember the long game. Ultimately, taking rest is very, very good self-care. You need it. You absolutely need it. It's good self-care, and self-care is always a good investment. So, to sum it all up, constantly working can lead to burnout, and ultimately that is self-sabotaging. But I would urge you to give yourself permission to rest without guilt. Challenge that nag saying, nope, I'm going to rest. Just going to sit here because this is important. This is what I want to do right now. And the more you do this, the easier it becomes. Make your rest time non-negotiable. You can do this. If you've got questions, please just let me know, and make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already on board. And if you really want to get to grips with your inner critic, make sure you watch this video up here.